Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
Have you ever felt exhausted at the end of a day when you never even left your chair? Not tired in your legs, not tired in your arms, tired somewhere deeper, behind your eyes, underneath your ribs, tired in the place where your thoughts live. That kind of tiredness has a name. Psychologists call it overthinking. But I want you to forget that word for a second, because it makes this sound small. Like a bad habit you could just snap out of if you tried a little harder. Here is the truth. Overthinking is not simply thinking too much. It is what happens when your mind stops trying to solve a problem and starts attacking you instead. It hijacks your energy. It steals your peace. And most painfully, it convinces you that if you just think about it one more time, you will finally feel safe. You won't. So forget the advice you've heard 100 times. Just stop thinking about it. That advice has never worked for anyone, not once. And by the end of this video, I am going to show you exactly why. Then I am going to give you the real tools, the ones that actually quiet a racing mind. And I promise you, you have probably been using a version of them wrong your whole life without realizing it. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to Motivational Humanity, the place we come to understand ourselves a little more gently. #, 6 quiet signs your mind is running the show. Let's start with the signs. I want you to place your hand over your heart if any of these feel familiar. You don't have to say it out loud, just notice. Someone sends you a text that just says, okay, no emoji, no exclamation point. And suddenly you are lying awake at midnight building an entire courtroom drama in your head. What did they mean by that? Are they upset with me? Did I do something wrong? You are not reading a message anymore. You are interrogating a period. Think about the night before something important. A job interview, a flight at 6 a.m., a doctor's appointment you've been dreading. Instead of resting, your brain switches on what I call the disaster channel. It plays every possible way tomorrow could go wrong on a loop until 3 a.m. And then, because you're exhausted, tomorrow actually does go a little wrong. And you spend the whole day punishing yourself for not sleeping when you had the chance. You are the person who has read every self-help book on the shelf. You listen to podcasts on your commute. You highlight passages. You genuinely understand your patterns better than most therapists do. And yet, when it's time to actually do the thing, apply for the job, send the message, start the business, you freeze completely. This is called analysis paralysis, and it is one of the cruelest tricks the overthinking mind plays because it disguises itself as preparation. You sleep 8 hours, technically, but you wake up feeling like you ran a marathon in your dreams. Your sleep was shallow, restless, full of strange half memories. You didn't rest. You just went unconscious while your mind kept working the night shift. Someone doesn't hold the door, or a colleague answers you a little flatly in a meeting, and your brain writes an entire novel about it. They're upset with me. I've done something wrong. They don't respect me. One tiny gesture, and you've built an entire narrative about your own worth on top of it. You've tried journaling. You wrote for a week and then quietly gave up because it didn't seem to change anything. You've tried meditation apps, but sitting still just seems to make your thoughts move faster. And maybe, quietly, you've started reaching for a glass of wine or an extra melatonin just to make the noise stop. If even one of those landed somewhere in your chest, I want you to leave a comment below with just one word: yes. Not because I need the engagement, because naming a pattern out loud is the very first step in loosening its grip on you. What stays hidden stays powerful. What gets named starts to shrink. #, even I am not immune. I want to be honest with you about something. I am someone who can stay composed through deadlines, difficult conversations, public speaking, all of it. And yet, not long ago, a conflict in one of my closest relationships sent me into 3 straight nights of insomnia. My mind kept replaying the same 5 minutes of conversation, searching for a version where I'd said something different, where it had gone another way. I'm telling you this because I need you to understand something important. Overthinking is not a character flaw. It is not proof that you are broken or weak. In fact, the ability to scan for danger and analyze threats is exactly what kept our ancestors alive long enough to become us. A little bit of anxious analysis is not a malfunction. It's ancient wiring doing its job. So why does it feel so much heavier now than it should? Why our brains are buckling under modern life. Let's zoom out. About a century ago, the Industrial Revolution pulled human beings away from the rhythm of the sun and the seasons and dropped us into factories, schedules, and productivity targets. Our nervous systems, built over hundreds of thousands of years for a much slower world, were never designed for that kind of pressure. We adapted. Barely. But that was only the opening act. The real shock came with the information age. And if you grew up with a smartphone in your hand, your brain has been absorbing an almost unimaginable volume of stimulation since before it had even finished developing. The most dangerous ingredient in that mix is short-form video. 15-second clips, stacked one after another, engineered by algorithms whose only goal is to keep your dopamine system firing. Bright colors, fast cuts, addictive music. Every element is built to hook the reward center of your brain. Picture it like this. Every time you scroll, your brain has to process an entirely new burst of information. New faces, new voices, new emotional tone. Sometimes hundreds of times in 10 minutes. From the outside, you look like you're just sitting still, thumb moving lazily across a screen. On the inside, your mind is sprinting a marathon it never agreed to run. Over time, this builds what I'll call a hypersensitivity loop. When you finally put the phone down and step into the quiet, ordinary pace of real life, your brain doesn't know how to downshift. It is still starving for stimulation. So it manufactures its own drama out of whatever is available. A coworker's tone of voice, an unanswered message, a look from a stranger, and turns it into a 5-alarm emotional event. That is the real reason so many of us feel like we are losing control of our own minds. Your brain, an organ that burns roughly a fifth of your entire body's energy, despite weighing only about 2% of your body weight, is being run at a red line pace nobody ever consented to. No wonder so many overthinkers feel foggy, drained, and strangely hungry for sugar and carbs around 4 p.m. That is your depleted nervous system quietly begging for fuel. But the exhaustion is only the surface. The real damage happens underneath. Where the real damage lies. I want to be very clear about something. Critical thinking and deep reflection are gifts. Some of the most valuable tools evolution ever gave us. But overthinking takes that same gift and aims it at exactly the things we can never control. There are 3 repeat offenders. First, replaying the past. Regret over things already done, conversations already had. Second, rehearsing a future that hasn't happened yet and may never happen at all. Third, obsessing over what other people are thinking about us, something we can never actually know. When your mind keeps circling problems that have no real solution, that stuck feeling doesn't just sit there quietly. Over months and years, it compounds into something heavier. Chronic stress, generalized anxiety, depressive episodes, and for some people, it can even begin to erode their sense of what's real and what's imagined. This isn't scare tactics. It's simply what happens when a biological organ is forced to run the wrong program for too long. It's part of why so many thoughtful voices in psychology and technology alike have started warning publicly that endless scroll platforms are quietly eroding our collective ability to focus. And even, some argue, reshaping how entire societies think. But here's the empowering part. We cannot keep blaming the algorithm forever. If the real cause is an overloaded mind, the real solution is learning to build a filter of our own. The 2 tools that actually work. There are many paths to a calmer mind, but I want to give you the 2 that work fastest, cost nothing, and require no special training. Just you, a little discipline, and a notebook. Tool 1, getting the thought out of your head and onto the page. I already know what some of you are thinking. I've tried journaling. It made me feel worse, not better. You're right. And here's why. Most of us use a journal like an emotional trash bin. We dump every anxious, angry thought onto the page, close the notebook, and call it therapy. It isn't. That's not release. That's just relocating the mess from your mind to a piece of paper. The version that actually works is called cognitive restructuring, and it has 3 simple steps. Take a small notebook, nothing fancy, and describe the problem in just a few honest sentences. Not a novel, just enough to see it clearly. This is the step almost everyone skips, and it's the most important one. Take a breath. Read back what you just wrote, with your own eyes, as if someone else had written it. The moment a thought leaves your head and becomes something you can see, your brain begins to treat it differently. It stops being an invisible ghost and becomes a solvable object. In that moment, the logical, reasoning part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, comes back online and starts to calm down the emotional alarm system underneath it. Now ask 2 questions. 1, is this actually within my control? 2, if the answer is yes, what is the smallest next step I could take today? Let me walk you through my own example from that family conflict I mentioned earlier. I wrote down, someone I love and I are drifting apart, and I don't know how to fix it. Then I asked myself, can I control how they feel or what they decide to do? No, their choices belong to them. So I crossed that thought out, let it go. Then I asked the second question, so what can I do? And I wrote something small and specific into my calendar. Invite them to Sunday dinner. Just the 2 of us. No agenda. That was it. One small, doable action, and the mental dead end I'd been circling for days simply disappeared. I want you to try this right now, today, not eventually. Pause this video if you need to. Grab whatever paper is nearest. The back of a receipt is fine. And write down the one thought that's been looping in your mind lately. You will be shocked at how much smaller a problem looks once it's outside of you instead of trapped inside you. Hash, 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 the pattern interrupt. If the first tool helps you clean up a mind that's already spiraling, the second one stops the spiral before it fully forms. In modern psychology, we call this a pattern interrupt, a deliberate break in the loop. Think of your overthinking mind like an old computer stuck, replaying the same corrupted file. You cannot think your way out of a thinking problem. You need something entirely outside of thought to break the cycle. Here's how simple this is. Set 2 or 3 gentle alarms on your phone throughout the day. Not urgent, just a soft chime every hour or 2. When it rings, no matter what you're doing, typing an email, sitting in traffic, standing in a meeting, you do exactly 3 things, and it only takes 5 seconds. 1, stop. Stop moving. Stop typing. Stop the sentence forming in your head. 2, release. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Most people are shocked to discover how much tension they were holding without even noticing. 3, breathe. 1 slow breath in. 1 slow breath out. Let's actually do it together right now, even while you're watching. Put the phone in your hand down for 5 seconds. Drop your shoulders. Breathe in and out. Did you feel that? A tiny gap opened up between you and the noise in your head. That's not a small thing. That gap is where your power lives. This isn't just a wellness fad, either. Some of the world's most demanding companies have built this exact idea into their culture because it improves performance, not despite the pause, but because of it. Tech giants run internal mindfulness and emotional intelligence trainings for employees. Financial firms have installed quiet rooms so people can reset mid-shift. Design and creative studios now treat 5-minute breathing breaks as seriously as they treat meetings. They've learned what your nervous system already knows. The pause isn't wasted time. It's maintenance for the most important tool you own. So when should you actually use this in real life? Don't wait until you're already overwhelmed. By then it's much harder. Build it into your day the way you'd build in a stretch or a glass of water. And don't worry about the what ifs. What if I'm driving? What if I'm in a meeting? Be flexible. If you're driving, your pause might simply be loosening your grip on the steering wheel and noticing your breath while your eyes stay on the road. Mindfulness was never about escaping your life. It's about finally being present inside it. And please, be gentle with yourself if you miss the alarm sometimes, or you can't stop the spiral right away. This is a skill, like any other. It's built through repetition, not perfection. Every single time you notice the thought storm pulling you and you choose to pause anyway, that is a win. Slowly, you stop being ruled by your mind and start becoming the one who runs it. When self-help isn't enough. And that's okay. Before we close, I want to say something important, because I care about you actually healing, not just feeling better for one video. If what you're carrying comes with real panic, deep depression, or memories of past trauma resurfacing, please hear me clearly. These 2 tools are wonderful daily maintenance, but they are not a replacement for professional support. Sometimes an overthinking mind isn't just a habit. It's your nervous system's way of protecting you from a wound that hasn't been tended to yet. If that's you, reaching out to a licensed therapist or counselor is not weakness. It is one of the bravest, most self-respecting choices you will ever make. For the rest of you walking this path with me, I promise, if you practice these 2 tools with real patience, day after day, you will feel your mind loosen its grip. Psychology was never meant to be one more thing that makes you anxious. It's meant to be a key that opens the door back to yourself. Before you go, do this one last thing with me. Put down your phone. Let your shoulders drop. Take one more deep breath. Thank you for spending this time here, understanding yourself a little more gently today. If any part of this found you, if you saw yourself in even one of those 6 signs, tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and I promise you are never alone in this. And if this video helped even a little, do 3 things for me before you go. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Tap that like button so more people who need this can find it, and share it with one person in your life who overthinks the way you do. Sometimes the kindest thing you can send someone isn't advice. It's this video. I am reclaiming my peace. I'll see you in the next one.